Hey everyone, welcome to another great edition of Wake Up Uncensored. Today, you all, we are joined by the very talented John Clarence Stewart. We have a lot to be talking about today. Stepping outside of your comfort zone, is it something that you're for, against, or do you simply not know? Hold the thought, because we can talk about it.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. I'm gonna start off very, in a way, personal. I know you have a ATL background. I haven't been there in a long time, but a very good place that I visited. Had an amazing time. So, what is it like being from Atlanta itself, since the rest of Georgia is so different?
Well, I mean, it's like being almost anywhere else.
Yeah.
There are certain pockets that believe a very specific thing in a certain kind of way, and then right outside of it, you'll find something completely different, you know? And you kind of have to figure out your way throughout it all. I grew up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is, I mean, actually, that used to be in the early 90s, I believe. The Klan was there.
Oh, wow.
And it was very, very, I mean, I remember it was like early 90s, they would even have rallies down Highway 78. When I was down there. And so you would have that, and then you would have on Stone Mountain, there's still Confederate generals that are carved into the mountain. So we would all go for like the 4th of July. I didn't know who these dudes were, but we were watching the laser show and the fireworks and all of that shit, and we're eating cotton candy all beneath these Confederate generals on the mountain. So like the juxtaposition's pretty crazy. And then you also have like Freaknik. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's also Georgia.
I forgot about that. Well, yeah.
So you have like these dualities.
Yeah.
When I was young, I thought it was a picnic.
So it's like, yeah. And speaking of, I remember this one moment.
Go down a fruit.
I was too young, but I do remember watching the television, and I watched these dudes hanging out of a Jeep with an anaconda over their shoulders.
Lord.
With music blasting. It was traffic. But there's this helicopter circling this dude who had an anaconda over his shoulders, and the music was blasting. And I was like, wow, that's crazy.
That is a sight to see.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of, my experience in Atlanta. What were you going to say?
Well, I lost my train of thought after you said Freaknik. So you got me. My question is, with your background in entertainment, starting or living, let's say, in Georgia, was it ever a point to say, you know what, I want to start in hometown, let's say Atlanta, working as an entertainer, and then branching out and going to other states? Or was it something that you said, I'm going to start elsewhere, and then I may come back home to work and do whatever it is that my craft and profession is as an entertainer?
I hear you. For me, it was not strategic at all. Like, I found acting my last semester in high school. I remember I watched the movie Good Will Hunting, and that's my favorite film. And I remember feeling so connected to Matt Damon and Robin Williams and so I was like, man, I had this amazing experience that affected me in a certain kind of way, and these guys don't look like me at all. And I was like, man, if I can make people feel like that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And that led me down this path, and then I went to South Georgia for school to do acting, but it wasn't because I was like, I'm gonna be an actor. It was because I didn't have anything else to do. I used to do sports in high school. I was not very talented. I just had a lot of heart.
Yeah.
I didn't grow on time, if that's a thing. And so, you watch people doing different sports, and you see people that have a natural talent at a thing. And I was always on the sideline watching these guys like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's amazing. That's not me. But then when I stepped onto a stage and was doing theater, people were looking at me like that. And I was like, oh shoot, that must be the feeling when something is working. And I was like, okay, so I'll go that path. And it was just, I did that in South Georgia, Columbus State for a while. And then, but while I was there, none of the people, I had a lot of friends who were actors, but everybody was working locally, which is amazing. But that wasn't where my curiosity was taking me. I was like, what does it look like to have a life in this thing? I didn't see anybody that was living a life in Columbus that I was like, that's what I want to be doing in like 20 years. And so my pops passed away like 2019, not 2009. My pops passed, and I was like, oh damn, all my motivation went out the window. I didn't really see a path forward. I withdrew from school, went back to home to be with my mom, and then found myself at Kennesaw State University a bit later. And while I was there, kind of fell back in love with it and was like, okay. I started to see people who were living in Atlanta as theater actors. And I was like, oh shit, that's possible. Like, television wasn't on my mind, film wasn't on my mind. I was watching these people who had families, who lived lives, who were local theater actors, and they were amazing. And they had these full lives. And I was like, if acting is that I can do. And I started pursuing that path. And while I was doing that, different doors opened up. Theater took me into this festival in Louisville, Kentucky, that doesn't exist anymore, the Humana Festival of New American Plays. I went out there to do a new play. And while I was there, casting directors and agents came from New York and LA to Louisville, small time. Well, Louisville's not small, but that festival was this place where people would come. And I did this play there, and that was when television and film and the possibility of that and moving to one of the coasts started being a thing. Before that, I was like, I'm gonna do audiobooks, I'm gonna do theater, and that's it. And I felt like and I made my living doing theater, you know, and I was like, this is all I need. But then the world opened up in a certain kind of way, and I was like, afraid really to the comfort zone piece. Each of these steps was out of my comfort zone. When I went to school for theater, I didn't have a roadmap. I was just following my curiosity. No one in my family did it. Lie. My older sister did theater before me. Nisi, I got you. She did theater before me. I would follow her. She's 17 months older than me. As a kid, I would do anything that she did. So she did a play, and I saw her on the stage, and I was like, if she can do it, then I'll try. And then I found that was something that really connected with me.
Let me say, and to cut you off, John, when it comes to it, almost was like you're an advocate to show what's possible. Just like the folks before you, when you watched the movie and you seen those actors, and you was like, I want to convey that feeling amongst others because that's what they made me feel. So would you say that what you do in entertainment is purposefully driven? Because it doesn't seem like and sound like to me you've mentioned anything about, I did this because I want to be bloody and filthy rich. I want all the fame, the fortune, bring the smoke.
True.
You're saying like, this person made me feel something. In our community, it doesn't sound like a lot of people as entertainers shy away from that if you truly are doing what it is that you love. You hear seldomly where folks are saying, well, I'm flashy, I'm this, but after you navigate yourself in a specific type of way and you start meeting a specific type of people and circle and vibe, you start to see that it's magnetic. It's purposefully driven. What you're doing, and like you said, shout out to Nisi, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Nisi. Yeah. It's what you've seen it happen in front of you. It's like, all right, those folks on TV, I may not know them personally, but the folks that I know personally, they're doing it. Oh, I can do this. And I believe that's very important for our community as well, not only as African American, Native American, or brown or black or anything of that nature, just as a whole, as a community, doing that, showing what's possible and actually making it possible. Not just speaking it, but like doing it. That's separate, but that's what you just told me. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Oh, I appreciate you reflecting that back to me. That really does resonate. And like you said for a second, you said it sounds like passion.
Yeah, it sounds like passion. Yeah,
Yeah.
Because it sounds passionate. You can say it wasn't really about money or being rich and just being, because I think people, especially back in the day, used to idolize being on TV or having an opportunity to be on TV, just being rich and famous and stuff. So it sounds like passion to me. Like you say, you're doing it out of something that you like to do.
Yeah, like everybody has their idols, right? I grew up very, very religious, very conservative, very, very, my dad was a pastor, right? So I was a PK. And I wanted to be like him. So I would see him, and he would tell stories in his sermons, and I would see the way that he cared for people, and the way that he, the way that he stood up for folks, and the way that he, we started in his, he had this like really, it's not like a mega church or anything. It was like this small, like maybe 30 chairs in the whole.
Everybody knew everybody.
Right, everybody knew everybody. Yeah. It's like they had these like handmade everything, like iron in little things, and
So intimate.
just so intimate. And I just remember my pops being so about service. He would say, like, my name is John Stewart. He says, so it's your responsibility to be a good steward. Be a good steward of your gifts. Be a good steward to the people around you. So it was all about service. And when I am connected with story, and this goes to the passion part, like, it's about serving. It's serving the community, it's serving people. And if I feel like story is detached from that, or doesn't acknowledge that or recognize that, it doesn't really resonate with me it doesn't really resonate with me. And service for me is about truth, it's about authenticity, it's about, because like I said with Go Will Hunting, these guys didn't look anything like me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was a truth that was theirs. It was authentic. It was real. It was this very human thing. And when things are really specific like that, I, as a little black boy growing up in the South who, didn't really watch a lot of TV and stuff like that because that was carnal and of the flesh and all that, somehow saw Good Will Hunting and watched these guys going through what they were going through and saw pieces of myself in that. And that's the beauty of the passion and the purpose and story. So I believe in it. I believe in the power of story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, Good Will Hunting may have been your movie, but mine is and always remains as Jurassic Park.
Really?
I felt
That's a
so
good
much
one,
for
though.
those dinosaurs because once they actually got out and they wanted to just live their lives. I mean, they're carnivores and they're herbivores and omnivores. Even
I don't
in
think you want
between. And then it's just the humans were like, "Yo, kill them! Go! They got to be extinguished." And it's like,
I don't think you want them dinosaurs to get out.
Yeah.
well, okay, they may not have wanted to, but because they tampered and wanted to play a specific role and recreate and
Right,
reanimate,
True.
now
That
you
is
have
true.
to literally lie in the
True.
bed that you made. And
a good point.
I was like, yo, they are literally maniacs and they are literally menaces because they are causing havoc and these dinosaurs just want to live. So I resonate with the dinosaurs. And when I seen that, it also made me want to be more, I love science.
Yeah.
All facets. I am fascinated with the way this planet works, like how it works, like the show, how it works.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was such a tinkerer until recently as an adult. I'm like, dang, after a long day and I'm done acting, I'm done at fashion shows, I'm just quiet. I turn on how it's made. I chill, talk to my plants, I pray, and live my best life with my family. And that's my unwind. But I just learned, I'm watching how it's made almost every couple of days, But it was just like watching that, feeling for the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It made me feel something. And that was the first time a movie, truly a film, made me feel something. And it was like, I'm not sure if this is right or not, how I feel, but it was just like I was totally invested in the way you described how Good Will Hunting made you feel like, oh, okay, it made me feel something. That was my first experience, just as an actor. And I didn't think about doing it for the money. I just was entertaining my family when I do things, starting off as a vocalist and a dancer. And it was just like, oh yeah, Keith, yep. Put on, what's my song? Dancing Machine.
Oh, really?
And I'll be dancing in a little living room with the TV about this big type situation. You click it on with the buttons. We had no remote. You hit that button or whatever. Yeah, right? And then in between trying to find a conversation. And turning it on. But it was just like, yo, Dancing Machine came on. I'm hitting my moves, doing whatever. To me, it was just about that feeling that my family had, that joy that they had. It was like no matter, and we're going to talk about growing up too, because I know you asked, like, where are you from? Growing up in Philadelphia. Philly. Growing up in Southwest Philly. Shout out to Southwest Philly. It was like the world I live in is way different than what I see on TV. Way different than what I experience now. but that's because like that was my upbringing. That's not who I was though. And in that moment, seeing that in our home, this little square, whatever you want to call it, a circle, we had that love, and it was like each person is encouraging each other. That's how this house is going to operate. And dancing and everything, it just was as an entertainer. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, those were my roots. And I have other family members who have gone on to do amazing things in Hollywood, and that aren't, some of them aren't even here anymore. But I'm just like, that what you said is so monumental.
Yes.
As an entertainer, as a human community. And I'll end it there.
I wanted to, if you don't mind, John, I wanted to piggyback because we all sharing stories. I want to share my story.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You know, interesting, as a kid and growing up, you never think that you're going to like certain things. Yes. So I remember my mom, and this probably was I'll probably say at some point like in the 2000s, Titanic, believe it or not, like, but interesting, you know, because it's like a 4-hour film, and I'm saying to myself, like, I ain't gonna like this. Like, this is about a boat. I hit my iceberg. Very interesting that to see Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, and mind you, they don't look like us. Yeah. Nobody on the ship looked like us, but it was the connection. It was raw. It was gritty, and I love the fact that you have someone who is in first class and you have someone in third class, and the person in first class has compassion for someone in third class, because what she's showing us is that no matter who you are, what you have, we're human at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. We all deserve to be loved. We all deserve to be respected. So it just resonated with me, along with the magnificent acting. So when you talk about seeing someone on screen that doesn't look like you, Titanic is definitely a film that, you know, even till this day, I'm like, that's one of my favorites. Just one of my favorites in the books.
What movie's better, Wizard of Oz or Titanic?
Was that like a trick question?
Yeah.
That's you didn't have time to answer that?
You can come back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'll answer that at a later time.
You don't want on the record.
To piggyback off these
No
two.
comment has a response too.
To piggyback off these two, I'm a sport guy. Love everything media. Love these guys right here.
Do you love dinosaurs?
Absolutely not.
I hate dinosaurs.
But I'm a sport guy. So in terms of you playing sport in the past, what differences did you see or similarities did you see in the two? Because there is a competitive aspect even in acting, because you do have to audition. So like, what's the differences? And might I ask, which sport did you play?
I played
American football?
I played football.
Yeah, South.
Yeah. Played football, played basketball, played
Yes.
soccer or football.
Yeah.
Where you're from.
Yeah.
I played baseball back in the day. But the one that I leaned into the most as I got a little older was football.
Football.
And I played offensive line. So I played offensive line and defensive line and middle linebacker.
Yeah.
So I was always on the line, nose guard, trying to cut through all these big ass dudes. And one of the things that I think are very similar with storytelling and with sport, in my opinion, is that the perception a lot of times is that it's an individual thing.
Yes.
But the reality is that, specifically in football and stuff, it's a team.
It's a team, yes.
And just like with film and television, like my homie over here, like none of this can happen without you.
Without him, that's true.
This is a team, right?
Yeah.
And so like everything depends on everyone else. And I think that sometimes it takes actors a long time to realize or recognize everything that's happening to support them.
Yeah.
Everything that's happening to like tell the story, and that there's one, in a very real way, people are there hours before you get there, and will be there hours after you leave to create the picture that's on that screen.
I know what you mean by that. I believe both of us worked. I was a stage manager in a theater play for a while, and he was a PA in that same play. So in that sense, it's one of the most eye-opening experience I've had, because there were so many little things that I had to do behind the scenes, and that frustrating in a way, because it was almost like taking care of other human beings to get them what they wanted, what time they had to be at rehearsal, how they were feeling. It was very again, very eye-opening, especially I'm coming from a huge sport background. So I was thinking like, hey, rehearsals at 2, bye. But it was more than that. I had to oh, rehearsals at 2, make sure you remember your lines, how are you feeling today? So in that sense, I do understand where you're coming from because there's so much. The PA, the prop master, there's so much more people that I actually had load in, load out, and he can interject in that.
I actually would like to ask you, John, since we're talking about theater, do you believe that theater prepares you for everything?
Oh, yes, I want to hear that.
Does theater prepare you for real life? Does it like help you like pay? Well, does it like prepare you for like real life situations? Like you like get into I don't know. I guess you get into a fight with somebody on the store. Like like just like something realistic that you would not expect to get into.
Well, I mean, I think theater does. And I think the whole point of it, at least as an actor, or I think anyone that's doing a play, specifically, in my opinion, is that it's about telling the truth,
Yes.
right? I think that for me, theater prepared me for real life because once again, I grew up with a very specific way of seeing the world. My ideas were very finite and very rigid, and I had a lot of fear in me. And I didn't realize it was fear at the time. That was the way I saw the world. But it's like seeing the world as a kid and everywhere you're going, you're always like jumping in shadows because you're just afraid all the time. And when you see shadows, you swing at them and stuff like that. You're creating stories about them because no one told you about shadows. That's the way that I was in the world. I was just like, someone's going to get me, right?
Did you hit it?
Well, I would swing, but most of the times I hit myself. or I would end up hitting people that were around me and hurting them because I was like, oh no, that's a threat, when really it's not a threat, it's another human being, right? Yeah. And that's all because of the stories that I was told. But then in theater, the thing that really shook me was that stepping into someone else's shoes started cracking me open. Stepping into someone else's shoes made me go like, well, what is life from this perspective? And to tell their truth meant that I had to kind of submit my mind and my body to their circumstances in the world. And I had to go, okay, well, if I don't judge them and I'm empathizing with them and all of that, I found that like every character that I would step into, they would make me confront parts of myself.
Yeah.
They would make me confront my ideas and beliefs about that character. And I'd be like, well, if I'm actually trying to tell the truth, if I'm actually trying to get underneath the skin, then I can't judge them. Then I have to find out how we are alike. What's the human thing in there that I can connect to? And so it made the world feel a lot more connected. It helped like me, as opposed to being fearful of all the shadows, it helped me go like, be curious about it. Yeah. And so where I would have these, back in the day when I had this response like, I'll be like, well, let me lean in, let me look at that, let me see that. Maybe the story that I was told isn't true. Maybe the story that I was told isn't the whole truth. Who told me that story to begin with? What is their story? Like, what is the thing that they were carrying? Because maybe they didn't unpack the thing that was given to them. Yeah. And theater took me on that whole journey, and that's a continual journey, right? And I think it's changed the way that I'm in the world. It changes the way that I interact with people. The curiosity I have for people whose experiences are way different from mine. It impacts the stories that I want to tell. It gives me compassion for folks who used to be how I was. And I go, oh, you're afraid. You're scared of everything.
Yes.
Okay, I can have compassion for the fact that you're scared of everything while also holding you accountable because you just hit me. Yeah. Right? And I remember what it was like to swing at shadows and hit people. Yeah. You're swinging at shadows and you hit me. Yeah. So let me have compassion for you. Yeah. But that was a fist in my face. You know what I'm saying? So like it's all of those things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stepping outside of your comfort zone. This is an industry where I think that we are so used to doing things one way when you can do it in an array of ways. And I think a lot of times people want to play it safe at times. What is your perspective when stepping out of your comfort zone?
I think all the great things happen outside of your comfort zone.
Okay.
The most beautiful things in life, and for me, have happened outside of my comfort zone. I love big leaps. I love to choose to do something, like, for example, moving to New York, right? Moving to New York for me, having only been there one time and not really understanding I didn't know anything about it really, the city and all of that stuff. But I knew that the version of myself that I was, like I would have to grow in order to be there. So I was attracted to whoever I would have to become in order to live in that space, which I didn't know. And so it's jumping off of the ledge with no parachute and being like, who's gonna show up? What part of me is gonna show up? What am I gonna learn about myself, right? And that is the most exciting thing for me about living outside of your comfort zone. It's like, life is meant to be lived. And I understand the comfort of comfort zones. I understand the feeling of, of knowing what's gonna happen when you wake up, knowing the people that you're gonna see, knowing how people's voices are gonna sound, kind of knowing, the stories that people are gonna tell you throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like things may change here or there, but usually someone went to work, they talk to this person. After you have a few conversations with them, at the end of the day, you're like, the primary people in their lives, all that stuff, But when you are in a new city or a new place, another reason why I like what I do for a living as an actor is because every project, you're stepping into something that's outside of your comfort zone. It's like a completely different group. It's a completely different story. It's a completely different character. It's completely different, whether it's theater or TV or film, it's a whole different thing. And it's all outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that's exciting to me. I don't know, like doing like a 9-to-5 situation where,
That's his. Yeah.
Come on, Keith got a story. Come on, Keith. Come on.
We may not have enough time.
No,
to
we actually
cover-
we do. We have time.
We do have time.
We do have
for
the time.
capacity
Yeah.
of a 9 to 5 to appease what company instead of yourself? Are you serious right now?
Oh no, I thought you were saying we didn't have enough time to talk about it. No, let's talk. Let's talk.
Do
about
we?
It. We
Let's
have
get
the
it.
time. Let's
okay,
get into it.
I
Come
mean,
on.
I was still at the being comfortable conversation, but let's ease into it. As I coach and I also mentor fashion models as well, and when I train them, I say you must learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's only going to make you grow. And some people think of a river. Think of the things you may have even been told about a river. You drink from a running river. Running river, it flows. It does not stop. They're like energy. It flows. So if you are constricting what you can learn in your education and your fist is like this, water still flows.
Yeah.
It goes around it. Water does that. Like a river, right? But when you open your hand, you can receive. You can truly receive. But when people attempt to do things, let's say appease a 9 to 5. What do they say about Monday? Can't stand a Monday, right? What they say about a Wednesday? Wednesday is
Hump day.
what is the story?
Hump day.
Right. It's hump day, shake your rump. And on a Friday, they're sending TGIF. and they
Party
got-
time.
As a full-time entertainer,
Payday.
I don't even know what day it is sometimes. I look at my calendar and it tells me MTW, whatever the letters want to be. I don't even look at that anymore. I say, what's the obligation today? What times do I have to be there?
Yes.
Not only as an entertainer, but as an independent entertainer. I am my chief executive all the time. So when it comes to like entertainment or when it comes to appeasing and it comes to 9 to 5, do you? Because what I'm doing, I'm my very best. And I'd rather create my own structured system that works for me so I can operate to be successful, to then piggyback and go back to showing my community that it's possible. Because as I traveled for London Fashion Week, there was one gentleman, shout out to Anthony, he said, yo, I believe somebody with locks can be on the runway that's high fashion and it's okay. Somebody that's not 6 foot and that's okay. You showed me that. You showed me. And I said, if I could be the proof, I'll be that. And I'm going to end it with that.
I wanna chime in for a quick second. I feel like it can be a double-edged sword, and the reason I say that is because you have people that are like, okay, I'll take the risk, and I won't do a 9 to 5. I'm not going to do the ordinary. Then you have people that are like, but I have a mortgage, and my mortgage is like $3,000 a month.
is
I got
true.
a car note.
That
I got
is
credit
true.
cards. I'm not willing to take that leap and put my livelihood on the line
AP,
pretty.
that means you just
could always
have to hustle
downsize yourself.
harder.
Well,
Yeah. You can always downsize yourself and
Go-
it means
I know
You can't.
to reach your dream.
I hear that. You could do that.
I think that there's a lot of different ways to be outside of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Okay.
Work is one way. Like what you do to make a living is one way of living it. But I think that when I think about being an artist, or when I think about living, if I even want to like take that, the idea artist, and kind of like shake it up, just being curious. If I take that and that's the thesis, that living outside of my comfort zone is living curiously, curious about the world, curious about people, curious about life. You can have a 9 to 5 and be curious. You can have a 9 to 5 and like take steps to be outside of your comfort zone within a structure that exists, because, you know, and then maybe as you do that, you'll find and explore and see other things. Maybe there's a lot of fear there. Maybe there are obligations and things that you have to do, and or responsibilities, or a life that you chose with people that depend on you in a specific kind of way, and you have to do that in a specific kind of way, and that's fantastic. And I think that you can still do those things, and whether you're within your 9 to 5 or outside of your 9 to 5, you can live curiously. And you can be like, okay, so, you know, is there an event? Is there like a gala? Is there something that I don't normally do? Like a certain kind of movie or film that like my family doesn't normally see, or some kind of event that I can go to that I wouldn't normally go to, and you can invite your whole family to go out there. Or maybe it's just like you and your partner, and you go out there and you do that. There's ways of being outside your comfort zone.
I agree.
You know what? Or and could it be in addition to what you just said? So many people see the finished product, whether it's polished or whether it's done. They see the finished and the end result. So where we are, they may say, "I want to get there," but they don't have any idea as to what we've done individually to get here as a collective.
Can we all agree and say that the ends justifies the means? So it doesn't either a 9 to 5 or something else, as long as you hit your goal.
It's on your own terms.
Justifies on how you got there. Because there's multiple ways to hit your goal. Yeah.
I would agree. That there is no singular way.
Yeah.
It's your path. It's
Yeah.
your path.
Yeah.
It's my path. It's your path. It's your path. And like, you know, yeah, and embracing the fact that
Yes.
it's your journey.
Yeah.
It's your one life. You know, depending on what you believe, and if it's, you know, if you've had a lot of them, and this is that one, or if this is your first lifetime, or if this is the only life you have.
Yeah.
Right. This is that, and you are responsible for that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No
That's
point of
what
working.
that's what it was earlier. I was going to say, but it was just like, does theater challenge your theater? Sounds like it challenges your belief, because you mentioned earlier, John, that you're a different character, and as an actor, you're portraying these different characters in these different emotions. So it's almost like it challenges your belief, because now you're looking back inside of yourself, like, how do I relate to this person or this source? That's what it was earlier.
Absolutely. I mean,
That's what it was. That's the thought
That's
earlier. I
the
was like,
person.
there's a thought there.
Yeah.
what were you gonna say, bro?
Oh, so yeah, what I was going to say was basically no point of working 8 hours no point of working 8 hours for someone else and not spend 8 hours at home working on yourself or your other goals and stuff.
Real shit.
Yeah.
Start off.
Or if you're gonna spend 8 hours working for someone else, make sure you also invest 8 hours a day into yourself as well. If you can, I know things.
That's what I just said.
Well, no, well,
Literally
I
exactly.
think he's trying to put it in a way
the
in
same
terms
person.
of
in the
like,
sense
yeah.
like the same
like if you're
person
gonna
right now.
do
What's
it,
happening?
just make sure that you don't.
It sounds like you just took that and made it into a synonym. They basically said what I said.
In a sense, he's trying to say 50-50.
Did you want to say it
There
first?
you go.
That's what happened? AP, you wanted to say it first.
I did not.
But ripping on my
But
guy.
the shade is real, though.
Pump right in front
It's shade.
But it's on the record.
Yeah.
You phrase stealer.
All right, take us home, AP. Take us home.
Okay,
Can I
John.
say
So
one thing? I just want to ask a question. It's a movie related.
go ahead.
Okay.
Do you?
What's because I'm willing to fight. What's a better movie, Titanic or The Blind Side?
You know what? Those are two. How you gonna do that to me? And those two of my favorite. Those are two of my favorites. You know, the blind Sandra Bullock. Shout out to you. She
Or probably Sandra. I don't know.
Sandra Bullock. She killed it.
She did.
She killed it. Like the entire cast. That is till this very day one of my favorite movies. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not
So
going
you
to
got
answer
two
that
favorite
question.
movies? How does that work?
You can have more than one favorite thing.
It's not called
You're
favorite
very
thing.
passionate about that topic.
Can you have two winners?
Titanic.
Yeah, I'm a type me.
But you know
Titanic
what?
too.
But
Also, My Heart Will Go On. That was my 5th grade graduation.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
It's Celine
Oh my
Dion,
goodness, we
yeah.
were in Catholic school and we had to
You
sing
were-
"My Heart Will Go On" to our priest that was leaving, and it was just
Catholic
like,
Those
Oh, yeah?
remember that? Just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So we have so much to talk about, but before and we still have a little bit of time. Don't worry, we got a little bit of time. John, I want to ask you one thing that you said to me off camera that I want to bring on camera is, to step outside of your comfort zone in this industry. Sometimes we're used to doing things a certain way. People are like, I'm going to audition. I'm going to go to the big networks. Is it important for us to kind of lead the way in a sense of we can do it ourselves? We don't have to depend on the majors and become independent. Like, what are your thoughts on that? What advice would you give to someone?
Advice. I can only talk from my experience.
Okay.
And that's so I really get even the idea of advice, because everybody has a different path, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that it is important, or I'm finding it more and more important, community. And I think that when it comes to community and stories that I want to tell and things that mean something to me, finding community that are on the same page as me. As an actor, a lot of times I'm stepping into different spaces and auditioning for stories to tell stories that are made by other communities, right?
Yes.
And that's wonderful. That's their community.
Yes.
And I'm leveraging my gifts, my talents, my body to tell a story that's important for that community, whether or not that community centers me or not.
Yeah.
Right? So in the same way, I, with communities of my own, with stories that I'm passionate about, things that matter to me, I think it's important to connect with the people around me, find my community, and tell the stories that matter to me. And those may be things that I don't audition for, or I do audition for, or, a writer or a director or a cinematographer or a DP or a whole crew of folks that are passionate about telling a story that's very specifically just for me, about something that I'm passionate about is father-son relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'm very passionate, familial relationships, father-son relationships, the intimacy of that, the chaos of that, masculinity, and trying to figure out what it looks like, and trying to shake it loose and not be defined by it, but also choosing what it means on an individual level. That stuff matters to me. So I can find community that the people that really are excited about that, and we can make something together. And the way that the world is now, I can make that relatively far less expensive than people used to be able to, right? And not only that, there's ways to get into the world so that the community it's for can see it.
Yes.
And if that's what it's about, if it's about storytelling so that people can see themselves and it's for a specific community, then I can do that. And if I release myself from the pressure of, oh man, this has got to make this much money back, or this has got to be number one on Netflix, or name it, whatever it is.
Like a cap or almost a boundary.
Yeah.
Like you're setting the border as to where when you do that.
Yeah. As opposed to being this is the story, the things that I'm passionate about, the things that matter to me. And I'm going to tell the story that means something to me. And then I'm going to put it into the world and let the people who it's for find it.
Leaving it wide open.
John, this is you hit a nerve, and it really touched my heart in a way that I'm going to try my best to explain. You said father and son relationships, and we got to have you back for a part 2.
Yes,
because I grew up without my father, and I longed for that relationship, and I've looked and I found them, and it didn't go as planned. I'll say that.
Yeah.
However, I question maybe that wasn't the path that I probably should have been on. Everything happens for a reason. But at a later date, I really want to sit down and talk with you about why it's important for every male to have a father or even a father figure in their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm gonna hold you to that, John. I'm gonna hold you.
Yeah, that's a good conversation.
So we're running out of time, but don't worry, y'all. We got a part 2. Y'all know how we do. We got a part 2 coming at some point. John, is there anything that you
got a part 2?
is there anything is there anything that you want to leave with the people? Because I mean, you're a very talented person. You are a singer, you are an actor, artist, entrepreneur. Is there anything you want to leave with the people before we exit?
What I'll say is stay curious. Stay curious. I'll keep it very simple. Stay curious. There's a lot of different paths that you can choose. And I think that being curious is a wonderful way to like take one step at a time. It's a long curve. And I think that I had old heads say that to me back in the day, and I didn't get it. And I didn't want to receive it. I always thought that when they would say that to me, it was them talking limitations on me. When they would talk about a long curve, I would think, that's your life. I'm about to tell the stories I want to tell, the way I want to tell them, anyway, all that stuff. I felt that. But over time, it was like, no, you're building, if you're in this, you know, there's a longevity to it, and the world is going to change, and people are going to change, and the ways we tell stories are going to change. But if I embrace the fact that it's a long curve, then I cannot be so stressed about all of the immediate chaos that happens. I can focus on like, what's next? What's the next thing? And I can be curious and take a step at a time, knowing that everything is going to accumulate into this bigger idea of legacy and the things that matter to me being in the world. So yeah, stay curious.
Stay curious and stay tuned for part 2. Yeah, coming soon. Thanks, John, again for kicking it with us.
For sure.
Oh, wait, before we go, John, tell us about either maybe something exciting that's coming up or the folks they want to find and maybe even connect with you.
Right.
How can they do so?
You can find me on Instagram.
It was a pause.
What's the name?
What's the handle? What's the handle?
Instagram.
It's a lot of people on Instagram. Which one is you?
All right. Okay, you can find me at jstew III on Instagram. And yeah, that's that. I mean, I pretty much only have Instagram. So you can find me up there at Instagram. That's it.
Or Google this man.
Exactly.
Google this man.
Well, you could do that too.
Right.
If you be finding the idea, but you ain't gonna find me.
Yeah.
It's not yet. It's not like a Google messaging, you know. But Instagram is the best way to meet me one-on-one.
Yeah.
And Google if you feeling that. And yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John, and we're looking forward to that part 2.
For sure.
And thanks, on a serious note, thank you for the inspiration.
Yes.
Because it's someone somewhere that really needs to hear that it's okay to step out of your comfort zone. And I feel like you coming here to tell your story and the road that you're on, it'll help someone else understand theirs a lot better. So we want to say thank you collectively for coming on.
I appreciate that. That's what it's all about. All right. That's what it's all about.
And we out, y'all. Like.